Good afternoon, everyone. Food security fears, panic hoarding, sky-high inflation. It just takes a few millers or governments. Add in finding enough truck operators. We got rationing, price controls, domestic stockpiling. Yeah, this amount. Countries in green exporting, not so much. Countries in yellow, dire straits. Calls for rationing in Australia already, and it just revolves back to the crash of 29, spiderweb of Wall Street. And a glimpse at 1561 of the lakes and rivers in Northwest Africa. Maybe that could be a new grow zone. News headlines blaring, bailout package to cost $1 trillion. Oh, I mean $2 trillion. $4 trillion. The Fed putting in the repo market $120 billion per night. Countries starting to hoard food with rationing, price controls, and domestic stockpiling. With this much inflation on the way, only one investment stands out. Gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee for life IRAs where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. Straits times. In addition to the trucking shortages, now we have labor shortages all in the harvest season and the delivery of our foods. Countries calling for rationing, price controls, domestic stockpiling. So if we can't grow it this year because of tumultuous growing conditions, where are we going to get the food from? Because countries seem like they're starting to keep it within their borders. They're not going to be exporting it. And I'll zero hedge here. Food security fears. Panic hoarding, sky-high inflation, and I threw a couple cards down here. Privatization, the tape runs out. The goal, a reduction. It's a reduction in a lot of things. It's economy, standard of living, as well as the numbers. And another thing is truck drivers don't really want to go to areas that have a high risk. So if you're going to pay them hazard pay, maybe they'll go, maybe not. But when the supply chain breaks down, the delivery goods break down as well. And now we're talking about stepping up a level from the individual to importers, millers, and governments. Now, it only takes a couple of those to break the chain completely. What happens if the bulk buyers think they can't get wheat or rice shipments, example, in different months? So looking out at the countries that are net exporters versus importers, dark green, well, Australia is a no-go right now. They're actually importing food, and they'll have shortages, which I'll show you in a second here. But look at the dark yellow countries that are really dependent on others. And then we start to see across the planet here, China's dependent on others too, but where are they going to get? They're not even planting now, so far behind. And when I'm talking about a country or a major wholesaler in terms of continental size, this is their warehouse. This is what they're going to start keeping in the country. So if you're talking about 20,000 tons of something going on a boat, it's not going to go. Or if it is, there's going to be a huge price premium on it, just like gold and silver now. Paper, yeah, you can still trade that, but try to get your hands on the physical metal. Good luck. Same thing will be with food. If you can get the food, there'll be a premium to get the physical food. And then when you see, quote unquote, governments are moving to secure domestic food supplies, that brings it to a whole new level, because right here off Financial Review, drought hit rice and pasta supply down in Australia, calls for rationing already with the Morrison government. And the bottom paragraph is the most important. Pasta supplies are also running low, and farmers who grow durum wheat say that most of what they have left is needed to plant. So we have to keep aside a certain amount of the harvest to plant for the following year. And it seems Australia, all eyes should be on Australia and China for the planting to see what's happening there, because this will dictate moving forward how the rest of the world is going to need to bend, shift, and morph to supply or not. And this is where we start to get into a whole new can of worms, which we'll come into in the next video. But take a look at the size of these warehouses where wheat flour is housed. How many thousands of tons do you see in front of your eyes just in this one image? And if it's not going to move, sugar, carrots, fruits, vegetables, grains, and it could be a smaller mid-wholesaler in a smaller town too. Oops, price is going to rise next week. Let's just keep it in our warehouse, and we can charge a higher premium for it. Somebody will come by. Somebody will come and pay for it, guaranteed. I can't believe with all the drought restrictions and everything happening in Australia, Farmers that are drilling their own wells are being slammed by water price hikes in the rice growing areas. Way to starve your own country. Crude collapse. Canadian heavy plunge into the lowest price on record. So you would think that everything would be so much cheaper to ship around the world, would it not? Because Ryan Maue is showing us the gas station prices in Oklahoma City now under $1, 99 cents, 89 cents. You're seeing this across the country starting to drop in so many places, yet Monterey, California is still $3.49. Who is scamming who? And history does repeat. Let's take a look here. Spider web of Wall Street. Remember the investigations after the 29 crash? Well, they drew this out. Pretty interesting here with Wall Street right at the center of the web of everything. And then we see the overnight repo market crashing in like $650 to $750 billion per week to keep it afloat. Not quite $1 trillion, but close enough for government work. That's why you're probably going to need a ham radio, because if things go down, you want to keep communications channels open and kind of find out what's going on while other people are broadcasting. And some of these problems we're going to have to solve with food inavailability. We're going to have to move grow zones, guaranteed. This Grand Solar Minimum is all about shifting grow zones, planting, harvesting times, latitudes where foods can be grown. But I love when we look at the older maps, 1560s, they show massive lakes and rivers going out north and south out of Africa, either to Mediterranean or down to the Atlantic, that are totally bone dry right now. But if we are going into a 400-year Grand Solar Minimum cycle, we should be coming right back into this wet period, should we not? I do appreciate you listening to what I had to say. My name is David Dubine, creator of the Adapt 2030 channel. Thank you so much, and the links are in the description box below, as well as links to TrueLeafMarket.com. You're going to have to grow some of your own food during this time. Remember, they're delayed about 10 days on shipping due to the massive volume of orders, but if you can grow your own fresh greens, tomatoes, carrots, pumpkins, and everything in between during this time, you don't have to worry about the supermarkets. Heirloom seeds. And I will see you next video.